As the culmination of the tale between Hydaelyn and Zodiac 10 years in the making, Final Fantasy XIV's Endwalker brought danger, drama, epic fights, and so much more that left fans, new and old, both satisfied and hungry for more. As the Warriors of Light begin their newfound adventure, not all players seem to still carry that same sentiment. I consider myself to be a newer player, having joined just before Endwalker was released, so this is my first time experiencing a patch cycle live after an expansion. Excited to finally be a part of the action with everyone else, I have to admit I was honestly pretty shocked to hear so many people claim that there's nothing to do in the game. I know the players who have been playing for a while have done a lot more than me. I'm still leveling on my jobs and haven't even finished Eureka or Baja, just to name a few things that I still have to tackle. But I still thought each patch was packed with more content to do and challenges to try, all of which I, personally, had a fun time doing. And I still haven't even done everything. While it may not be for everyone, here are some reasons to love Final Fantasy XIV Post-Endwalker. Please note, this video will be in two parts. The first part will be mostly spoiler-free, talking about the content and the systems in the game. And the second part, I will go more into the story and my thoughts on that. Don't worry, I'll give you plenty of warning so you won't get spoiled. It felt like almost every time a patch was released, there would be videos talking about how packed the patch is and how there's so much to do. Yet inevitably, every time, there were also people saying that there's no content, there's nothing to do, there's a content drop. It just left me wondering, how can it be both? I understand that many players were feeling the absence of an exploration zone, but I can't help but feel like there was still plenty to do in the game regardless. Like I mentioned, I don't know what it was like before, so it's just a little hard for me to comprehend how different it could have been. I can understand missing having that challenge where you work together with other players and you're all working towards the same goal and you can all show off your progress. And maybe if they add another one again in the future, I'll be able to compare it better. But despite that, there was plenty of other content added in the game, not just for the battle hungry, but for other players as well. I do consider myself to be more of a casual player. I'm not a hardcore raider, I'm not a hardcore furnisher, I'm not hardcore anything. I just kind of play on my own time and have fun doing little things here and there. So that is another reason why it is probably easier for me to get the most enjoyment out of this game. Now, unlike Shakira, I'm not saying you have to try everything. I'm not saying my way is better or this is the way that you have to play. I just want to share some of my thoughts with this perspective. Even without the exploration zone, I found there to be still a lot of battle content added in each patch. We got 5 dungeons, we still got 4 trials, a raid series, Pandemonium of course, and the Alliance raid, Myths of the Realm. Well, no surprises there. I actually thought it was pretty cool that the trials were part of the MSQ, because it reminded me of A Realm Reborn. And so to me, that also kind of added to the feeling of here's a new adventure, here we're starting over, going back to our roots almost in a way. Of course, moving forward, I do hope we do get another like trial series story. I thought it was enjoyable the way they did it this time. There was also an Unreal trial every single patch, going from Ultima to the Warring Triad to even Thornton. Now, I'm not really sure how that was done in the past. If I remember correctly, this is something that they brought back. And my only criticism of this is that I wish they stayed longer. This is something that I haven't quite gotten around to doing, and I would like to be able to try to do them if they ever brought them back. It's some of that content that you don't really have to do, but I guess if you just want that challenge, it's fun to try. And of course, there are the more challenging fights, like the Extreme Trials, the Savage Raids. They even added 2 Ultimate Raids this expansion. Now, I know all of those came with their own drama, but as someone who hasn't dared tackle all that, I was pretty impressed to see it all included. It's definitely a long-term goal for me, but I thought they looked pretty fun and pretty challenging. A new deep dungeon was also added after Endwalker, Eureka Orthos, and I haven't really done much of this yet. I think I've basically only unlocked it, but I am pretty eager to try it, check it out. I know there have been some criticisms about it, but honestly, I mostly care about the story. I'm pretty curious about the lore that could come from it, and I think it will just be another fun challenge to do that you don't necessarily have to get a big group for. Speaking of smaller groups, they also added the brand new variant / Criterion dungeons, and there's actually going to be 3 of them. Right now we just have the Sylvan Subterrane and Mount Ralcon. Pretty soon we'll also have Alo Alo Island, which I think sounds super cute. Honestly, I love these. I love that I can do it solo or with friends. You don't need a big group. Granted, I only do the variant version. I haven't done Criterion, or definitely not Criterion Savage, but I think, at least for what I want, the rewards are pretty satisfying. I know there have been a lot of criticisms about the rewards for Criterion, but I feel like that's more for Savage. But for me, I love the little silky mount. I'm still working to try to get the lantern mount, but I love the concept of it. How you can go through and have like a different experience each time, taking different routes, learning more about the story behind it, learning the bosses and how they change each time. I think it's pretty great. And now this Alo Alo Island seems really fun as well. Plus, I love that we get to interact more with some NPCs that don't often get to accompany us on things like this, missions and battles. If you saw my last video, you know I love interacting with the characters in the story. Anything that gets me more time with them is pretty great in my eyes. Another big thing that was improved upon in the Post-Endwalker patches was the PvP system. Now I can't speak to how it was before because I did not touch it before, but ever since they've added Crystalline Conflict and these series award system, I found myself dipping my toes in PvP a bit. I would not call myself a PvP player at all. I've only ever done like the casual matches, but generally like the weekend before the maintenance of the new patch, I will just binge PvP until I can get up to the level 25 series award. And I have a pretty fun time with it. I found Crystalline Conflict to be pretty fun. I love the fast pace of it. And because of it, I have even tried some of the older PvP systems like Frontlines and Rival Wings, mostly to try to get the last Garo mount that I need. Overall, I've been pretty impressed. When Crystalline Conflict was first released, it had 3 maps, and throughout the patches they've even added 2 more, or it will be 2 by the time the next one comes out. I don't know, to me I think that's pretty incredible. Each map has different gimmicks to it, different things that make it unique that you need to be aware of. It's pretty fun to learn through those, try to trap other people with it. Usually I end up getting trapped myself. I found overall it's a pretty fun way to practice with other jobs and get some fun rewards out of it. More emotes are always fun, and then mounts and glam. For me, it's a pretty easy way to get nice things, so I'm here for it. Now, like I said before, I have always procrastinated getting my series rewards, so this patch I'm trying to do like my daily front lines at least or something. We'll see how long it lasts. And then even Blue Mage got an update. They were not forgotten. I'm assuming they get an update every post-expansion cycle, but I thought that was nice to see. I still haven't quite leveled up my Blue Mage either, so seeing that update reminded me of something else that I'm excited to do. It looks fun. I like the new glam for them too. Of course, we can't forget about our tribal quest, and we still got our 3 tribes, as is the norm. 1 battle tribe and 1 crafting tribe and 1 gathering tribe, right? That's not really what they are, but that's what you have to be to help them. And I thought all those were pretty fun. There was quite a bit of content for crafters and gatherers as well, besides the tribes. Again, I'm not sure how that compares to other expansions. Maybe it's about the same. We've got 3 different custom delivery editions, and honestly, with just the custom deliveries and the tribal quests, I was able to max out all my crafters and gatherers without really knowing how to craft or gather. To emphasize the custom deliveries a little more, I really enjoyed the quests that went along with them, and I thought the rewards were pretty nice too, for how easy it is, you know. With the millions, I enjoyed helping her out, seeing how Charlene is doing, as well as getting some of the inside scoop on the twins and Fortuno. Then you get some cute clothes from her, and you can put her in cute clothes too. And for Andon, this poor guy needed so much help, but I was here for him. We did our best. And I enjoyed his story and getting to learn more about the land that was in this area before. Plus, you got a pretty great mount from it as well. And Margaret, she just came out, so I haven't really seen much of the story with her yet, but I'm having fun so far. I also really appreciate getting to see more of Theopoldin. There's a part where he's like, let me reintroduce myself if you don't remember me, and I'm like, no, I remember you. I'm happy to see more of him, more of these NPCs that we met during the MSQ that we get to catch up with, see how they're doing. Well, some of them are the MSQ. Maybe Andon was there before. It's a really easy way to level up your crafters and gatherers and get a lot of scripts so you can get a lot of materials. I found it to be like very beneficial for multiple reasons. However, the downside is that, like I said, I really don't know how to properly craft or gather, like the expert stuff, which is a little important because they've also added the Splendor's tools, which are basically like your relic weapons, but for the crafters and gatherers for this expansion. I'm still struggling a little. I haven't gotten back to it since starting the quest. For this one, I barely scratched the surface, but I'll definitely come back to it, especially for the story. I'm so curious to see what's going to happen with these characters. And plus, I want a shiny tool. They look nice. Also, we had an ocean fishing update, and that is something that I haven't touched at all. I've been wanting to do ocean fishing, especially to get that mount that looks super cool, and I feel like it would be a fun thing to do. But again, it's just something I haven't gotten around to yet, but I am really looking forward to doing so, and especially with this update, see what they've got in store for us. And yet still, there was even more stuff that they've added to the game. I do feel like, and maybe this is one of the reasons why other players have been a little disappointed. It does seem like they've added a lot of content that is more geared towards players being able to play solo instead of forcing them to play with other players. And I know there's the argument of like, it's an MMO. If you don't want to play with other people, don't play an MMO. But I think there is something to the fact that they want more people to play the game. And I don't think it feels good when they hear like, I've played every other Final Fantasy game except yours and 11 because I can't play it alone. So I do think they are trying to make it more accessible to people. And honestly, that's something that I greatly appreciate as well. I do want to play with other people, but there's a lot that I'm happy to do by myself, and I'm happy that I can now do it by myself. This is most predominantly seen with the addition of duty support for all the previous dungeons, as well as some MSQ revisions to fit it in. And for me, that's something that's been pretty exciting. While it is fun to do dungeons with your friends, I personally also like to see how the NPCs go about doing the dungeons and how the story plays out with them. I do kind of wish though that some of these duty support characters, that you could name them like you can in like previous Final Fantasy games. Like, I don't want just Scion's Marauder or Scion Conjurer. I want to name him. I have names for them on my own, and I would like to be able to put it in the game so I don't forget. Of course, probably the biggest and perhaps one of the more controversial updates that they included that is a very solo casual friendly addition is Island Sanctuary. I do think this is what in a way replaced having an exploration zone. You do unlock more areas. It is a separate land that you are going to, but you're going there alone as opposed to going there with other players. And of course friends can join you, but I guess you can't really meet new people there. I know before it came out, a lot of people had pretty big hopes for it, and I know now some people are pretty disappointed with it. Me personally, I love it. I've enjoyed seeing it develop. I even have fun with how little you have to do later on. Well, initially I enjoyed feeding my animals, petting my animals, planting the crops on my own, going out and gathering things. I'm at a point now where I have the mammoths doing the feeding, the crops. You got the granary, you can go send them out and gather materials. So there's not much I have to do, but I enjoy that. I enjoy just being able to plan a little of what you need, but essentially just having this nice place to chill and hang out. I can listen to my music and queue for things, especially when I'm doing like my PvP binges at the end of the patch. So it's been pretty great in my eyes. Of course, this is coming from someone who does not have a house. Not that they've included the ability to put furnishing on the island. I still haven't even gotten to that yet, but it's something I am looking forward to doing. One of my favorite things with regards to Island Sanctuary are the cutscenes you get after achieving certain visions. So I'm always excited to see who's coming this time, what are they going to say, what are we going to do. The cutscene that we got in the update for 6.4 was probably my favorite so far. It was just so fun. It was characters that I already enjoy, so seeing them come visit me and the dialogue between it was just very enjoyable. I feel like this whole kind of content has been like a precursor for what we're getting in Dawntrail. Not necessarily the work that we do on the island, but just the feel of having that like vacation. Plus, I think you get a lot of great rewards through that too, and it's really easy to get. If you can't tell by now, I love getting things with minimal effort. And you get some cute outfits, get some fun mounts. So I feel like it has been a nice thing to do. It's really easy content. But for me, I've been enjoying it. We got Island Sanctuary instead of an exploration zone, but the exploration zones usually meant that was where our relic weapons came from. I have heard many complaining about the way to get the relic weapons this time, which is through the Hildebrand quests. But again, for me, as someone who's pretty casual and likes to get nice things with minimal effort, it has been a godsend. I have enjoyed it because I already enjoyed the Hildebrand quests. Getting to continue their crazy adventures and then get shiny weapons for it, it's a win-win in my book, because honestly, like, their adventures this time have been some of the craziest yet. But some of the duties involved in it, I felt like a god at one point. It's just so worth it to me. Going into this new adventure, more people can have pretty weapons. Another thing that they have added that I feel like it's probably pretty casual content, not too hard, but you do need to get more people together to do the more current ones, are the new maps. And I haven't done this as much as I would like, but it was really fun. I think I've done both the Excitotron 6000 and the Shifting Gymnasium Aganon, and that thrill you get when the portal opens up, it's just so good. I know this is not something new to this expansion. I'm not sure how many usually come out, but I feel like it's probably pretty basic, pretty easy. Of course, you can always go back and do older maps if you want it to be more solo friendly and more casual. It's just another fun thing to do and get some nice rewards out of it. I'm also not really sure how this compares to previous expansions, but these optional side quests that they've added, I have really enjoyed as well. Tatara's Grand Endeavor, I did briefly mention in my previous video, but that has brought a lot of joy and satisfaction to me. Going back and revisiting some characters from past stories, most of them have been characters from other optional side content. So far those have brought me quite a sense of fulfillment. I'm proud that I have done the previous content to now experience this story. I'm really eager to see how it will conclude in the 6.55 patch. We also had Tales of Newfound Adventure and Omega Beyond the Rift, which really just added more context to what's happened in the MSQ. And I thought it was a nice addition and really enjoyable. Especially Omega Beyond the Rift, which I believe was written by Ishikawa. That was very touching, and in typical Ishikawa fashion, brought a tear to my eye. Maybe several. And of course we got the usual seasonal events. There were some Gold Saucer updates. We still have a big one on the way, which is the Fall Guys collaboration. Every patch we got some great music added. I know there were a lot of bangers throughout this time. As well as we got quite a few quality of life improvements and UI updates. For me, it just really feels like they've been adding a lot to get ready for the 7.0 expansion. With the big graphical update and so many new players having come in, I think they want to make content that appeals to different types of players, as well as encourage them to try new things. For me, I have felt very encouraged to try new things, and that especially came from the story. So if you are caught up on the story, you can continue, but if not, there will be spoilers moving forward if this is as far as you're gonna go, or really even for everybody. If you made it this far, drop a like, leave a comment on what are your reasons for loving Endwalker, and if you're ready to continue about the story,